Okay, I think we're good. Right, so yeah, last Saturday I did Hyrox Pro Doubles. It was a pretty good race. We went into it not knowing what to really expect because I had my partner that I was going to do it with drop out because of an injury, and then my older brother stepped up, but he wasn't given much notice at all. It was literally like 4 days or something. We are going to be doing London together, so he was kind of training for that, but it was very short notice and he wasn't quite ready. So they, yeah, so we were kind of threw together a little bit of a last minute plan. I was yeah, I didn't know where my fitness would be. I was a bit ill in between Birmingham and Manchester, but we had a good run. We did 1 hour 2 minutes, and I kind of thought we would make more mistakes than we did, but I'll put a video up about that should come out this weekend. But yeah, next on the calendar is London. So if you are going to be at London, come and say hello. We are doing the Pro Doubles. Well, I'm doing the Pro Doubles on Friday night, and then we're doing the Woodsy Team Relay on the Sunday. So both my brothers and my dad, full family affair, and should be good fun. And I also would like to do that to kind of really see how that feels and kind of give you some guys some advice on doing the relay, because I haven't done that before, and I think that's the last one to do, to tick off all of the different Hyrox options. So that's how things are with me. But getting on to today's topic is injury prevention and managing injuries around Hyrox. So I will start by saying that I'm not an injury specialist. I'm a personal trainer and a coach, and I've done courses. I'm currently doing a course on biomechanics and managing injuries. But I take a keen interest, and if it's of any kind of validation, is that I have so far gone pretty injury free over the last 4 years of doing Hyrox training. Little things have come up, but I've sort of been able to manage those, and I've also trained and coached a lot of people that have gone ups and downs with injuries, and sort of how that's looked in terms of getting people back to health, and back to racing and competing, and when to and how to adjust basically according to that. But my first kind of piece of advice is to go and see a specialist, because like if you are injured, I will give some advice on managing and hopefully like preventing injuries. But if you do have an injury, even if it's a little sort of niggle, then my best advice is to go see a specialist and get an opinion on it, and they can give you. It might be really simple things, like you might have, like for example, I have had little niggles where I can sort of just feel this building up, and you're always dealing with it, but if you can manage it, if you can alleviate some of the pain around it, then you go into sessions with that much more sort of oomph, and you're not holding back or being reserved at all. So that can be really really beneficial. So if you are injured, see a specialist, and that's point number one. But point number two is it's almost counter to it, but it's doing some self-care. yourself. So I think a lot of the time people will deflect to I can't do anything because I don't know how to treat injuries or even just like things like tight sore body parts that are feeling, if you're just feeling a little bit beaten up, doing some self-care work on yourself, whether it be like foam rolling, stretching, like getting a massage, or like using the hot and cold sauna. Like, it's all really good for blood flow. I've used the massage boots. I've used like the vibrating foam roller, the guns, all of that. And it's not like you don't need those things. Those things are like bonuses, but really like the big factors that will really help your recovery are hydration, nutrition, and sleep. So these are the big rocks. They not only help your performance, they will help you recover. Making sure you're getting adequate protein, because that's what's going to rebuild those muscles and repair. And then the like self soft tissue work sort of thing is also really beneficial, and like it's stuff that you can do yourself and keep on top of, and that's something which I think people almost like kind of need permission to do. Like, some people are a bit hesitant if it feels kind of, it's not going to feel super comfortable. Like foam rolling your calves after a hard like running session, it doesn't feel great, or it's that kind of, but you'll feel good after, and it relieves some of that tension. Number 2 is self-care, looking after yourself, making sure you're getting enough water, making sure you're eating adequately, particularly with running. A lot of people, if they're in a calorie deficit, will, because they're trying to lose weight to run faster, you run the risk of injuries like shin splints and like micro fractures can start to crop up if you are in a big calorie deficit, because you're not getting adequate fuel to repair and rebuild. Like, each time you go for a run, each time you're taking on damage, and your body needs to repair that. And if you are cutting your calories and you're getting constantly injured, then you might want to look at that and definitely prioritize proteins and micronutrients, so that you're getting enough of those vitamins to help repair as well, because that will really help. I'm just going to try and bring it up. I still can't see the chat, but let me quickly see if anyone's dropping some comments, because as I say, I went through all of this yesterday and it didn't even work, so I want to make sure that it's working, so please bear with. Let's bring this up. So number 1, go see a specialist. Number 2, take care of yourself. And number 3 is going to be managing your training volume, and then also creating a balanced program. So I think this is a really big one, especially when it comes to Hyrox, because of with like Hyrox itself is not a risky sport for things like it's a non-contact, although there might be a bit of pushing and shoving, but you're unlikely to get like an impact injury, and you might get a sprain, ankle sprain if you're like from running or slipping and tripping, but for the most part, it's pretty safe. There's not a lot of like spinal loading. The heaviest weights are on the sled, so it's a lot safer than I say that like all sports come with injury risk, but I think that's why it's so popular in and why it's growing in terms of a lot of people will find that they can do the movements, even beginners can do the movements without too much risk of injury. The most common injuries around Hyrox are going to be repetitive strain injuries, and that's purely due to the amount of volume that you are doing for a Hyrox race. So in training and in the race, it's the amount of reps and the amount of running if you are not accustomed to that. So it's all about like tissue tolerance. What can your body tolerate, and what it's used to. So what we want to do when talking, like when planning your training volume, is finding out where you're at the moment. So you're basically your point A, and then building that up to one where we want to be for your race, but also knowing that you can't like rush there too quick. With running volume, a general like a rule of thumb and what I kind of loosely use is like about 10% increase in volume per week, and then every third or fourth week we drop the volume down a little bit. So that way it kind of just gives you a bit of a gauge in terms of how much to increase each week, and know that like if you're going from no running to doing like 40k a week, then it might not, and this is the thing, you might not get an injury straight away, but if you keep doing that, and your body is just going to break down. So it's that tissue tolerance, and it's building your resistance to impact, particularly with running. A lot of it is like lower leg stuff, so your feet, your ankles, your calves, shins, and around your knees, because of running is all of that like impact, and less so you can use like the machines will be your best friend, especially if you're new to running. Even if you're not and you want to build more volume, then using the bike, the skier, the rower, swimming, in combination with your running, so that you can do more cardio without as much impact. And that goes also, the volume thing also applies to the other exercises. So with things like lunges and wall balls, you want to obviously build your volume up on that gradually, so that you're not super sore and you're not risking overloading the tissue. So you're allowing yourself enough recovery in between doing those sessions. And as you become more tolerant to them, then you can put them in more regularly. But doing like because I'm weak at wall balls, let's do wall balls every day, is not allowing your body to recover enough from them, and you are also risking those muscles getting overworked, and that's when injuries can start to crop up. The other thing with like the programming side of things, and this is where coaches need to be kind of a little bit clued up on, is you want to be kind of offsetting the amount so basically with like the lunges and with like wall balls, you're doing a lot of pressing and you're doing a lot of squatting, and so offsetting that. So what we're doing, like there's a lot of quad work, a lot of pushing, and you're in this kind of retracted. So you're like flying, spine is flexed. We want to do some stuff to offset that. So pulling work, where we're kind of a little bit more flexed through the spine, is going to help. So having a program that is balanced, so it has some sort of structural balance to it, so that you're not just doing loads of push, and like burpees, wobbles, it's all of that pushing work. We need to do some pulling and some retraction stuff. Like I know the sled pull kind of does that, but it's not equal. So and likewise, if you're doing like loads of volume on the rower and the skier, doing some push work to counter that is going to help. So just this idea of balance. The other thing is, if you're talking long-term programming, if you are doing Hyrox like year-round, you want to put in some rotational, some side-to-side work, because a lot of what we do in Hyrox is linear, so like front to back, and you're always moving in that forward plane. So what happens is, as soon as we kind of step out of that, so doing like a side shuffle or a rotational throw or something like that, you instantly like, oh, I'm stiff in that movement because you don't do it. So doing some lateral movements, some twists, some like rotational throws, all of those really good for kind of being generally fit and preparing your body so that so that you're not just stuck in this one kind of plane of motion. I know that Anthony Parasini does some of this quite well. Those of you who don't know, he's Lauren Weeks' coach, and he also coaches a lot of the Elite 15 guys that do really well, and he's big on doing some general like general readiness training sort of thing, and that's like, it's not just Hyrox specific stuff. You're basically building yourself to be ready for anything, and then you get Hyrox specific in the build up to a race, or particularly the races that you want to excel at. Okay, so that's kind of managing your training volume, building a structured program that balances that. And if you need help with that and you're looking for something that is well balanced, we have programs, the Hyrox Strength program, which is more strength focused, and then the Hyrox Race Ready program, which is like an 8 weeks all-rounder in terms of equal kind of running to strength training, and it starts off doing a lot of structural balance work, so where we're basically working one side at a time. We're doing movements that help to develop good movement patterns, and then you can kind of load them a lot more, and we get more specific to Hyrox as the program goes on. If you are interested in that, then check out the race ready plan at coactiveperformance.com. The other thing to be including in your programs is some direct core work. So you're not just like your abs, but also your lower back and obliques. This is big in preventing injuries because of, particularly like things like Hyrox, things like the lunges, where as you fatigue, your core should be doing a lot of the work to stabilize. And like if you are, this has happened to me a lot of the time, like if you're doing like lunges and wobbles late in the and even running late in your session or in your race, and you're really fatigued, your core gets tired, and then your muscles are doing work that should almost be their second or third job in terms of like stabilizing and moving. And like things like your quads are blown out, then you start to using your adductors, and your core is weak, so they're doing so much more of the work than they should be. If you can have a really strong core, then everything stays a lot more stable. You can have better form with your running, better form with your lunges, and then you'll last a lot more, and you won't put so much strain on the smaller muscle groups like your adductors and your glutes and that sort of thing. Okay, so yeah, well-balanced program, manage your training volume, put some core work in, and that's kind of the training side of things. I have got a comment come in, so let me just have a quick check. How much space do you think you should leave between races so as not to overdo it? My first solo pro in Birmingham and Dublin this weekend. I know I want to sign up again after Dublin. So this, so how much time you should leave between your races? It really depends on like we kind of said, your tolerance to volume and to training, and also your goals for those races. So like if you're wanting to try to improve upon every race, then you want to allow yourself a little bit more time between the races, so to allow yourself the recovery time, and then a build up. So having the races really close is actually, sometimes it's not too bad in terms of like if you were to you would design your training plan so you'd build up to a race, so you'd be like sort of peaking towards your first race maybe, and then you're just basically holding that peak, so you wouldn't do much in between. Like if it's 2 weeks, then you would just kind of be recovering and sort of staying at that level of fitness, and then you could jump into that second race. And because of obviously your training volume has been high, it's not too much of a step, but you're still unlikely to sort of see big progress between those two races unless like something went wrong that you could fix. So yeah, it depends on what your goals are. When it comes to like recovering between races, or like recovering after your race, this is like an area that is often overlooked, and I think that like it's kind of like from my perspective, I got ill after Birmingham, and I think it was because of I didn't look after myself enough, and my race was late on a Saturday night. I don't sleep well if I race late, so I didn't sleep well that night, and then for whatever reason I didn't sleep very good the night after that, so I was just really tired. And then also the kind of, especially when you put a lot into these races, your kind of your stress levels and your and when you give everything on that, you're going to be depleted, and so that's when it's really easy to pick up illnesses and injuries if you jump straight into training. So what I would say is like really listen to your body. If you don't feel like training, then don't. Like give yourself a little bit extra, and be on it with those recovery things that we talked about. So like your nutrition, your hydration, your sleep, because it's just as important, if not more important, after that super hard race, where I think a lot of people almost kind of, right, the race is done, I can forget that, I can go back to they was eating clean before and now it's all gone out the window. I'm going, by all means, I'm not saying don't celebrate, like enjoy it. You earned certain things, you can eat more, but I would actually say that, like, eat more rather than just eat like crap. Look after yourself, get the sleep, get the hydration in, and listen to your body, see how it feels, both mentally and physically, because obviously it is a lot doing these races, and particularly after, like, if you've got a lot of races, then I find that, like, I can do sort of 3 or 4 within a set period of time, within a kind of what I kind of call a season, sort of like 4 months, and then I start to feel myself kind of being a little bit burnt out, and just giving myself more time to rebuild, to change up my training, makes me feel a lot better. And that is another thing, is like, trust that it will come back. Like that feeling of wanting to train, to be excited about it, is what you want. And like, if that means changing up your training, if that means pushing a race off until a bit later, then by all means do it, because it's, you should enjoy your training, and that will equally keep you injury free if you're not like dragging yourself through your sessions. The other thing that I was going to cover was what to do if you are injured, and you're kind of on the fence on, should I still race? Should I, like, how can I still train, or should I still train? Those sorts of things. And obviously I can't give specific advice on injuries, but what I would say is it's better to think always something rather than all or nothing. And this is something that I always encourage, and I always say a lot, is always something rather than all or nothing. Because I think people think as soon as they get a little injury, that's it, I can't train, my eating goes out the window, let's just call it off, it be like it could be a little strain that you recover from in a couple of weeks, but you kind of work yourself up about it, you think everything's and I'm not saying like put your head down and train through it, but think about what you can do rather than what you can't do. So if it's a lower leg injury, or if it's like something where you can't run, or you've been advised not to run, then the assault bike will become your best friend. It may be a lot of people's enemy, but using it is the closest you're going to get to running without impact, because you're using upper and lower, and it does keep your heart rate quite high, where things like just a stationary bike, you normally it's a lot harder to get your heart rate up. So using that for long sessions, short intervals, you can keep your fitness. Like it will be boring, it might not be as nice as running, but you can keep your fitness on an assault bike, and you're not going to forget how to run in like a few weeks. If you keep and build your fitness on an assault bike, when you come to running, it'll only take a little bit of like conditioning the calves to jump back into a race, and particularly where and again, it all depends on your tissue tolerance, but doing the 8K that is required of a Hyrox race, if you build a lot of your fitness on the machines, it's better that you repair whatever the injury is, than to try to run through it and keep trying to test it, and you risk aggravating it again. So yeah, use those machines, and think about what you can do rather than what you can't do. So even if you, I don't know, say it's something more serious where you've been advised you can't even bring your heart rate up, you can't do anything in the gym, which is very unlikely, but just say that is the case. Think about using that time that you would be in the gym to plan your meals, cook your meals, and prep everything. And then you're going to be that much more ahead in that domain and be really on it with that. And then so you're not only going to recover quicker from your injury because you are eating better, and you're recovering better, then when you can get back to training, you're going to be in still decent shape, rather than like everything goes out the window as soon as you get a little niggle. Then even when that injury is recovered, you still feel crappy and out of shape. So always something, not all or nothing. See a specialist, do some self-care. So think nutrition, hydration, and then the recovery tools. Manage your training volume, follow a well-balanced structural plan, and use the bike or the assault bike if you have any sort of lower leg injuries or something that's preventing you from running. I think that will pretty much do it for today. If just double check the chat, nothing else. So hopefully you found that useful. If you have any more questions, whether you're watching this live or after the fact, you can drop it in the comments, or you can reach out to me on Instagram at Woodsy Workout. Actually, we just got a little one in now. I'll quickly answer this one. Hi, I did my first ever Hyrox over the weekend in Hyrox Pro Double. I did see you there. I'm super impressed how fast you run in there. Well done. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Thank you, Andres, and well done on your first Hyrox. Always good to hear from you guys. As I say, I will be in London in a couple of weeks' time. It's coming round. So be there on the Friday night, the Sunday during the day, and hopefully the Saturday as well. So if you're doing London, good luck. If you're doing any other race, good luck. And like I say, you can always reach out to me on Instagram at Woodsy Workout, and all of my plans are on my website coactiveperformance.com. Okay, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.